All right, the time is now 6:04. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ms. Perry, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Commissioner Jamie Fairbanks Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Terry Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes Wilkinson.
I'm here.
For today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Okay, thank you. And now, Mr. Granum, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. A tremendous thank you to our volunteers who showed up for our Stringers Branch Cleanup Day with Green Steps. It was very hot and humid and yucky day, but we all got down in the branch and along the branch and worked hard to collect as much trash as possible. My family and I personally removed many heavy car parts, pipes, rugs, fencing, and, typical trash. So let's all please do our part to keep our little creek clean. If you missed the inaugural Red Bank Arts Festival on September 27th, I'm sorry to say that you really missed out. It was an incredible event. I was there for several hours. I know several of us, maybe all of us, and staff were able to attend too. There was a constant flow of people. The performances and live demonstrations were fun and cool. And we got to support a ton of local artists and makers. I heard several people say, wow, this is awesome. I can't believe this is happening in Red Bank. Well, believe it. A massive thank you to our dedicated neighbors serving on our public art board and our staff for making this event such a beautiful success. And I'm very excited to see what we do next year. And it was a wonderful morning we all had together last Saturday at our first Traffic Garden Jams. So many sweet little kiddos and their families came out to ride their bikes around the Traffic Garden, listen to cool jams from our friend Josh Branham, eat yummy food from Tata's Grills, and just hang out with neighbors. One young girl even learned to ride a bike for the first time, and her mother cried about it. She was so happy and so thankful. We're so grateful for our partnership with White Oak Bicycle Co-op, who sent her home with her first bike. The next Traffic Garden Jams event is on November 1st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., so I hope you guys will be able to make it. We also have several events happening in Red Bank this Saturday. Our second Saturday market is happening from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with 30 plus vendors and live music. The Zombie Fest and Zombie Fun Run, sponsored by Decaffeinated and Walnut Street Publishing, is happening from 3 to 6 p.m., where there will be vendors, food trucks, live music, family-friendly activities outside of New Wave Coffee Roasters on Linden Avenue. The fun run starts at 5:30 p.m. at the White Oak Ball Fields, and the after party is from 6 to 10 p.m. at Clever Ale House. And also, Dirty Jane's Fall Flea is this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with over 30 plus vendors that will be in their parking lot. And from our schools, I just want to say happy fall break next week, and to our resident Hamilton County teacher. And now we'll have our report from Vice Mayor Berry.
Thank you, Mayor. Ditto, a huge thank you to our Public Art Citizen Advisory Board for the huge amount of work and effort that they put into Red Bank's first art festival. It really was a delight. The performers especially exceeded expectations. The dancing, the music, on top of the visual art was a real treat for everyone. And a real bonus to have the playground there for the little ones to stay out of all of the fragile ceramics. The mayor mentioned a couple of our upcoming events. I think the first Saturday of each month for the rest of the year. So let's see. The November 1st and December 6th will be the next traffic jams at the Traffic Garden. up by the second fire station up north. And our next Red Bank Community Food Pantry will be Thursday, October 1st from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Red Bank United Methodist Church. And that'll be it for me.
October 16th.
October 16th. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And those on the computer. Red Bank Community Halloween event will take place at Red Bank High School on Tuesday, October 28th, 5:30 to 7:30. There'll be games, lots of candy, organizations, students sponsoring their booth about our school. And they also wear fun costumes for all of us to see and the children to trick or treat. Red Bank High School football game will be this Friday at home with Hickson, followed by the next Friday, 17th. Those are the last two home games. And hopefully they'll be in the playoffs. I attended the Arts Festival last week. The dancers were very creative and artistic. That was fun to see all that movement and active. It was good to see Clifford McCabe after his knee surgery. He's already gone, but I hope he remains strong and recovers well. For the teachers and students, Hamilton County, enjoy fall break. The last Listen and Learn for 2025 will be Monday, October 20th from 6 to 7 at Jack's, and that's the corner of Ashland Terrace and Dayton Boulevard. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Holmes.
Good evening, and thanks for coming and watching online. Please check out all the events mentioned and make suggestions for events if you would like to see or attend. This is National Hispanic and Latino Month. I have learned about Mexican artists from the 1900s, about Guatemalan cuisine, and about a country north of Venezuela that I had never heard of. You can watch a video or read a book or talk to a neighbor to learn more about Hispanic and Latino history and culture. As mentioned, the Arts Fest was this past week and it was well attended and executed. We thank city staff and Public Arts Advisory Board. I'm hoping for maybe one day a storytelling festival or add it onto that maybe next year or the year after. Again, the cleanup day, we had over 22 volunteers collected over 15 bags of garbage out of the branch, and then our naturalists received 145 observations and 119 species were identified on the same day. The RFP for the Gossie Trail Ridge construction was released and will close on October 10th. It will be reviewed and then brought to commission on November 4th. The advisory board is working hard and planning the Christmas parade and festival and looking for vendors. So if you'd like to be a vendor at the holiday parade or festival, please check out the website under the Federal Advisory Board tab. And the upcoming events, some were mentioned already, the second Saturday market on the 11th from 10 to 1, and then Food Truck Fridays on the 17th and 31st from 5:30 to 8:30 at Red Bank City Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. I couldn't keep up with everything. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Wilkinson.
Okay, per usual, most of the things I was going to talk about have been addressed already. But I will go ahead and talk about them anyways, because we had a very good time at the Arts Festival. I just thought that event was just remarkable on a lot of levels. Like the execution for the inaugural event was extremely well done. They Mr. Granum made the observation that they utilized the technology that was available to them very well. I like the inside and outside nature of the event. And it was cool to see the community center space kind of utilized on a larger scale. It's not something I can really call us ever really doing. And I thought it was a really great space for it. Yeah, and the playground was great. And, you know, yeah, the traffic jams event was also a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next two of those. Yeah, thank you to White Oak always for being there, bringing the fleet of bikes for kids to ride. My son happened to go to school with one of the girls that was there, and I'm not sure if it was the same girl or not, but her dad came up to me today when I picked up my son and said, after that event, we bought our daughter a bike. So I guess it wasn't the same girl, but it's cool. You know, one more kid on a bike is never a bad thing. And then I just wanted to give props to the city staff for making everything so routine. You know, these new events, you know, the fire department's response to a bunch of accidents and, within eyesight of my house, on a regular basis. You just, there's so much happening that is just right there under the surface that you would just never notice. I mean, sometimes you do notice when it's a big event, but yeah, good job, Good job, everybody. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have the city manager's report, Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor, and my computer went to sleep.
Again.
We get this little cup. I just wanted to add on to the accolades for the event, the art event. It was truly extraordinary. It was just heartwarming from a community standpoint. And I think everybody on the dais mentioned this, but just to peek under the tent, it was 3 departments from the city staff side involved in that. I'm going to give a shout out to Director Slay, who is the community development department is on point liaising with the art advisory board. And that's a big job. And the art advisory board is exceptionally well led with Chair Tessa, and she brings a lot of energy.
Oh, yes.
It's magnificent. But then the point of execution it really shifted over to Public Works with Tegan who was there, and Jeffrey managing the conference center. We had several Public Works employees there just to make sure that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed at the point of execution. And then to your point, Commissioner Wilkinson, how do we get the word out? Well, it's the engagement process we've developed with our social media platforms. When we put on an event, we have a way to get the community informed and engaged. And really we're firing on all cylinders internal to the city so that when it comes to doing an event, we can. I had a boss once tell me, if you're gonna step out, put your best foot forward. And so we do that. And thank you all, commissioners, for your kind words. Staff really appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Please note that Fire Chief Brent Styler will be inducted into the Red Bank High School Hall of Fame in a ceremony on Friday, October 10th at 9 a.m. in the gymnasium. It's worth noting that everybody at the department director level has come to Red Bank mid-career or later, except for Chief Styler. He started pulling hose decades ago at Red Bank Fire Department, and he has come all the way from pulling hose to being chief. And we are so proud of the chief, and the community recognizes that. This is not anything any of us initiated. This is Red Bank High School looking around saying, one of our graduates has done good, and I can't think of anybody who exemplifies that more than Brent Styler. Thank you, Chief. Earlier today, Mayor Dalton and I attended the Small Cities Coalition annual legislative luncheon, which brings together all 6 mayors, all 6 city managers, and our legislative delegation, including our reps, Rep. Renaud and Senator Watson. Senator Gardenhire had a family emergency and couldn't attend. He usually does attend. Mm-hmm. We discussed issues before the legislature that will impact all the small cities, and those issues included sales taxes on groceries, concurrent jurisdiction, and the assistant district attorney's key role in that, municipal ambulance service statewide, and also here in Hamilton County, independent wastewater facilities, anticipated property tax cap legislation, and state shared sales tax, and more. We are well served by very capable legislators, and I encourage everyone to reach out to them and communicate on the issues facing our community. I attended the Fall Tennessee City Managers Association Conference, and as always, I learned a great deal, but I also came away confident and reassured that we are doing the right things and we're doing them well here in Red Bank. Speaking of doing things well here in Red Bank, the auditor is in the building doing their annual deep dive into the previous fiscal year. We don't typically receive any feedback during the audit, but often we can get a read on things based on the questions they're asking us. So far, there are no surprises. But as you know, the auditor formally presents their report in late December or early January, so stay tuned. One of the many aspects of my duties established in my contract is regarding continuous education and professional development. My contract requires 12 hours annually, Similarly, to maintain my certified municipal finance officer credential, I have to have 20 hours of comptroller approved continuing education credits. And to maintain the International City County Management Association credentialed manager designation, I'm required to accumulate 40 hours annually. So where do I stand? Yesterday, I submitted my ICMA credentialed manager renewal submission, and for the past year, I've accumulated 57 hours of continuing education and professional development, much of which was accumulated on my own time. I say this to assure the commission, my colleagues, and the community that I am always passionate about nonstop learning, developing, and building new skills to meet the needs of this dynamic community. And I thank everyone here for their support in that joyful task. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Granum. Next, we have our public hearing. Item A, public hearing to authorize and release a request for proposals, RFP, for the sale and development of 2 city-owned parcels located off Goodson Avenue. Director Slade.
Thank you, Mayor. Wanted to give you a real quick update as to how we got here and what's next. This type of a public hearing is very unique. To be quite honest with you, it was a new experience for me. But if you recall, you have ordinance 21-1188, which clearly defines the protocols and the due diligence process that the city will undertake whenever they are looking to dispose of real property. In this case, we identified 2 parcels of property that the city has had under their ownership for an extensive amount of time. It was evaluated to determine what would be its highest and most valuable use. First and foremost, there was not a high need for the city to continue or to operate on that property. So again, taking a look at the next highest and most valuable opportunity, and that is to have the properties developed and back on the tax roll. To achieve that, again, we've had a due diligence process to go through. If I recall, I think this is the 3rd time we've been before you to speak about the due diligence process for Goodson parcels, the disposition of that. This public hearing tonight is to actually present to the public the RFP that will get posted if commission moves it forward. It will be released for at least 30 days. At the end of that process, what proposals come in, your ordinance furthermore gives some direction on how that is shared publicly before actions are taken. Once we receive those, they will be calculated, evaluated, presented to commission, and within 15 days, that is shared on the public website, as well as we will cycle it to the next planning commission's agenda for their review and recommendation as well. So again, the RFP before you does spell out what the property is. It spells out more so what the city is not seeking. We are not seeking a partnership with a broker or a real estate agent. This is being proposed as a request for proposals from qualified developers. We do have some conditions, which those proposals will need to include their financial capacity to be able to acquire the property on a timeline for them to be developed. We are also including that the parcels be sold together. They will not be separated. We're also encouraging the developer to submit what those potential housing styles could look like and what would be that proposed median house for sale range. So it'll paint a big picture for commission to make the best decision on how we move forward with not only getting the properties back into private hands for private development, but to say that it is in harmony with the subdivision, with the community as a whole, and more importantly, to have more residents and to get the properties back on the tax roll.
Thank you, Director Slay.
Thank you.
Could you just touch on, I think it's toward the end, but the information about, what it would mean if we got a couple of proposals and that's all we got and we didn't necessarily think that they were going to meet the expectations that we have, what happens after that?
Again, it solely rests with commission. If after this RFP is released and what submittals come back in, if commission as a whole determines that it's not enough information, or maybe that's not the route that they choose to go, that is totally within your purview to make that decision as to withhold. We can decline any and all proposals, and then we can go back after. We can release another RFP.
Okay.
There is no timeline that is
Okay.
restricted here. Again, it is totally at the guidance of City Commission through your ordinance process.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anyone else have
Yeah.
questions, Commissioner?
Question, when will it be decided as to how much the property will sell for?
What will happen is the RFP will go out. We do have a baseline. We know what a broker's estimate was, as well as the public information for how the county has it has it currently assessed as its value. Depending on the proposals that come in, everything will be presented to you from the highest to the lowest, everything that gets submitted, and we will just evaluate those as they come in.
Could, answer your question? Okay. Any other questions before we open up the public hearing? Okay, thank you, Director. We'll go ahead and open up this public hearing. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. We are now in a public hearing for the matter before us. Please note these guidelines for speaking. Initial comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. If time expires, please respect her direction and conclude any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, to city staff, or to the audience. Public hearings allow citizens to share their views, which helps the commission make informed decisions. At the discretion of the mayor, some dialogue on the matter may be allowed. While a dialogue may be permitted, the principal purpose of a public hearing is to listen. So questions may go unanswered and issues may remain unresolved. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium to speak. Please begin by stating your name and address.
All right. If we have no public comments, we'll go ahead and close this public hearing and move on to our next agenda item. Thank you, Mr. Granum. We will now have a temporary adjournment of our regular meeting and call to order our beer board meeting. Ms. Perry, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Dalton,
Here.
Vice Mayor Barry,
Here.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Here.
Commissioner Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Here.
Thank you. Item A, Jeff Schwanke, doing business as Clever Ale House, has applied for a special event beer permit for the Zombie Run and Festival on October 11, 2025, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., located at New Wave Coffee Roasters at 2405 Linden Avenue. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Can you tell us a little more about the event and what you plan to be doing there?
Just selling beer from our end at the event. As far as I know, there's going to be kind of like a market, some vendors and stuff. Obviously, New Wave is there, selling coffee and whatnot. So that's about all that I know. So yeah, we'll be selling beer and hopefully it's a great turnout.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you. Have you read and agreed to abide by all city alcohol ordinance and laws?
Yes.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve? I'll move. I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any discussion? Any comments by the residents present? Okay, there are no more comments. We'll go ahead and call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Where's the zombie?
A zombie run is where the zombies chase after you while you're running.
Are you importing those? Like, where are they come from?
Lots of makeup and costumes
selling beer.
encouraged. I was actually reading the website today and it's very much, it's very playful. You know, it's meant to really just bring people together to kind of just have fun together and do a very chill run, not super competitive. All right, we will reconvene our regular meeting and we have our consent agenda, which contains the September 16th meeting minutes, approval of a debt policy update, expenses for the emergency repair of a traffic signal, a new appointment to the Cemetery Advisory Board, formal commitment to TPL's 10-minute walk campaign, the purchase of drill tower steps for the fire department's training facility, adoption of a Vision Zero policy, awarding an RFP to TSW Design, and an amendment of the animal and fowl ordinance. I don't think that's correct. I'm sorry. That is separate. disregard that last piece. Are there any items that the board wants removed to the irregular agenda for further discussion? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to remove Resolution 25-1849 regarding the Vision Zero policy and Resolution 1850 regarding the TSW design, since we didn't get to those in the work session.
Excellent. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I'll move.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I have a second?
My second.
Second from Commissioner Holmes. Any discussion? Any comments by the residents present? There are no comments. Let's call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Ordinance number 25-1288, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, to amend the Red Bank Animal and Fowl Ordinance, ordinance numbers 21-1195 and 21-1224, codified at Red Bank City Code Title 10, Chapter 8, and in particular amending Section 10-77, subsection A to D, therefore so as to permit up to 8 mature hens on any otherwise qualifying residential property in the City of Red Bank. First reading. Director Slay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, this was on your work session agenda that we did not get to. But if you recall, a couple of months back, we did have some residents inquire as to if Red Bank would consider increasing the allowed number of hens in response to the City of Chattanooga's recent efforts to increase. So for some playful activity in your work session, your current regulations do allow up to 4 hens, which equals approximately that many eggs. This resolution, this ordinance this evening, the only change that it is making is to allow up to 8 hens, which would be more eggs. This was the desire of the community. I also just made some quick notes. Currently, we have 9 active permits. We have 9 active permits. I don't believe we're going to have a flood of applications that come in tomorrow with this change. However, I do anticipate some of your current permit holders will be interested to further permit to add that number up. So we will address those as they come to us. Also keep in mind, from a code enforcement perspective, it is our responsibility to be mindful of those that want and those that do not. So as with any ordinance, when it comes to code enforcement, we do take inquiries, we investigate, we take a look at it. If it warrants bad actors, we have a process to follow. So again, this is just being in response to some of your citizens' inquiries, as well as it has some uniformity in requirements between the City of Chattanooga and Red Bank.
Excellent. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Is there any further discussion?
Just to what Director Slay mentioned, we've made several efforts throughout the previous many years that I've been here to try to align our animal control ordinances as closely as possible to Chattanooga, since McCamey is the contracted animal control service for both the City of Chattanooga and the City of Red Bank. So the more consistent we can make the animal ordinances between our cities, the easier enforcement is for McCamey. They don't have to remember, there's 4 hens here, but 8 hens here. Look up, which address. Is this a Red Bank address? Is this a Chattanooga address? It can just be, simple for them. And of course, it's a request from our residents. So yeah.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comments?
I had a question. So when you apply and does your property have to be looked at and approved? Is that how it goes?
Yes, there is an inspection process. The application gets submitted. That triggers our staff to actually go out and do a site visit. There's a couple of conditions that have to be met in order for that permit to be issued.
I'm just looking out for the animals, make sure they're safe.
And the neighbors.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. Are there any comments from the residents present? No? All right, if there are no comments, Ms. Perry, can you please call the vote?
First and second motion.
Vice Mayor Barry made the motion and Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey made the second.
Mayor Dalton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Motion carries on first reading. And I believe we have a public notice coming out soon, and we will be able to have our public hearing and second vote on November 4th.
Correct.
Okay.
Apologies that public notice did not get out for first reading. It is normally our practice. However, before second reading will be sufficient.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director. All right, moving on to item F, which was pulled out of our consent agenda, resolution number 25-1849, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, to adopt the Vision Zero policy to reduce serious injury and/or fatal traffic crashes by 2015, as outlined in the Chattanooga, Hamilton County, North Georgia Metropolitan Planning Organization's CHC and GAMPO Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, CSAP. Director Slay.
Just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, when we're talking about the MPO, it is the Metropolitan Planning Organization that we partner with,
Thank you.
which encompasses a lot of traffic safety initiatives. This in particular, I believe Vice Mayor Barry will probably love to speak on. She does represent the city of Red Bank on the MPO. So this is falling in line with the community's desires as we continue to grow and move forward. How do we redevelop? How do we pay attention to land use practices as well as the development of new road systems and maintenance of existing road systems? This is taking a look at a policy to be mindful of those approaches whenever you look at redesigning your regulations. This is not regulatory in nature. It's an initiative and it's a policy. From this being adopted this evening, we add that to our inventory of planning initiatives, the portfolio that through our land use overhaul process, we will incorporate these concepts and these ideas into a unified development code that helps lay the groundwork for seeing these actions come to life. Mayor Barry, would you like to make a comment?
Sure. I first found out about Vision Zero probably back in 2021, around the time that I started representing Red Bank for the MPO, and it just makes sense. Unfortunately, it has been a standard practice for traffic engineering in the past that, traffic fatalities and serious accidents were considered an unavoidable side effect of the transportation network, and nothing to be done about it, and decide how many fatalities or injuries are acceptable in your network and make that your benchmark and move on. So this represents a different way of thinking about things, and that the old way of thinking attributed all of these crashes to mostly human error, and said, if only people drove perfectly, then no one would ever die on our roads. And maybe that would be true. But Vision Zero acknowledges that human beings are not perfect and they do make mistakes, and that the onus lies on us as policymakers and on designers and planners who design our roadway networks, and that our responsibility is to create a network that is as safe as possible. And a big part of that is reducing speeds, increasing visibility, things like that. There are changes that can be made to the physical structure of roads, to policies, to speed, to enforcement, traffic calming. All these things can work together in harmony to reduce the likelihood, not prevent entirely, but reduce the likelihood of fatalities or serious injuries occurring within your network, and especially for the most vulnerable users, who are those outside of a motor vehicle. Especially as motor vehicles get larger and heavier, they are becoming more deadly to people outside of those vehicles. So it is more important than ever for us to create a network that protects people as much as we are capable of doing. So the formal language, Vision Zero is a strategy to achieve zero traffic fatalities and severe injuries. Again, not crashes, because we would rather have 10 fender benders before we have a single fatality or serious injury. By increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility for all roadway users, again, not just people inside of vehicles. It is safer for them also, but especially people outside of vehicles, people on foot, people rolling through bicycles, scooters, wheelchairs, strollers, etc. Vision Zero recognizes humans will make mistakes, so the road system and related policies should be designed to ensure those inevitable mistakes do not result in severe injuries or fatalities. In order to achieve this system, designers and policymakers must improve on road design policies, especially reducing speeds and other related systems to lessen severity of those inevitable crashes. The focus must shift to prioritize safe mobility for all roadway users rather than exclusively the highest possible speed and volume of motor vehicles in order to achieve this eventual goal. So, thank you all for finally bringing this beautiful policy to the forefront. The NPO just voted to adopt a Vision Zero policy at the end of August. And this is to bring Red Bank's policy in alignment with the NPO, but the NPO is not an executing body. So they make recommendations, they allocate grant funding, but they don't actually build anything, but Red Bank does. So we would be the first municipality in the NPO region that I'm aware of to also adopt this Vision Zero policy as an implementing body.
Something I will just make a note, I know we didn't get to discuss it in work session, but attached in your packet is a really informative flyer on the core elements. So we will make sure and post this on our website this evening, just as we go. So collectively, all of this information, again, will be baked into our initiative next year for our land use regulation overhaul to make sure that we start laying out some of these priorities and these strategies for these types of policies to be implemented.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of that, Vice Mayor. Do I have a motion?
I move.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
A second.
A second from Commissioner Holmes. Any further discussion?
Mayor, may I add something?
Yes, please.
I want to say thank you to Vice Mayor Barry. This has been a passion of hers and others as well, but really a passion of Vice Mayor Barry. I want to say thank you for your patience with us as a staff. It took us a while to get here, but for cause. It's a complex issue. It involves other agencies, regional partners, and we have grown as a staff with a community development department who's capable of taking on issues this complicated, and a public works team who is capable of implementing. And at the end of the day, it is going to drive behavior change and expectation change of our users of our transportation network. So it's a tall order, and this is a milestone on that journey. But we're going to all have to chip away at this for a long time to really make sure the Vision Zero is realized. And so we have to be patient but persistent.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Cranham. All right. Are there any further comments up here? Oh, Vice Mayor.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Why 2050? Says to reduce serious injury and or fatal traffic crashes by 2050. Oh, as outlined in the Chattanooga Hamilton County. Is that why we adopted 2050? Because that was the MPO target
Correct.
date?
Yeah.
Correct.
I'll allow it. Okay.
Maybe we can prioritize some.
We can make
I think
that
we
the
can get there
outside goal.
faster,
We can
yes.
get there faster.
Yes.
I think it
Safely.
speaks to the complexity and the really the true magnitude of Vision Zero. It's maybe the boldest thing we've talked about tonight in that regard. But really, no deaths. I mean, it's a bold
It is.
goal.
Well, and it's about, getting engineers and traffic designers to get out of this way of thinking of, well, this is the way we've always done it. And having to really think outside the box with how they're approaching those initiatives.
It really is. When I talk about strategic initiatives, it really is getting at those ground root mentalities. By 2050, this will be the norm.
Right.
It will be the
Right.
norm, the practices for how subdivision regulations are laid out how do you do roadway improvements, and what is that expectation? So
Right.
it's just, again, it's being very strategic and changing those mindsets.
Mhm. Yep. Thank you. All right. Do we have any comments from the residents present? You got a thumbs up. If there are no comments, let's go ahead and call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's official. Yay. All right, and moving on to item G, resolution number 25-1850, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners authorizing the city of Red Bank to award the request for proposal to TSW Design in the amount of $125,000 together with a 10% contingency for professional services to update the city of Red Bank's land use regulations. Director Slay.
Thank you. I was working on just an inventory of information before tonight's agenda, particularly for this effort. Just as we just adopted a policy for continuing those initiatives, that will probably become, from what I can figure out, the 12th document policy plan initiative that will be baked into our entire land use regulation overhaul. We envision a process of compiling all of these resources, all of these regulations into a user-friendly, more modernized approach to land development in Red Bank. At the end of this time, hopefully this time next year, we'll be having more conversations on what we will be identified as a unified development code. This is that next step. I won't say it's the first, because the first was your comprehensive plan initiative.
Yep.
How do you know what land use regulations to change if you've not captured your community's vision and the desires and the dreams where the next generation is going to go? That was a heavy lift last year. This is that part two. So how do you take a plan into action? This is how we connect those dots. By truly doing a deep dive into your code, determining which code is relevant and going to be the most user-friendly to implement in Red Bank. This is where these key partners come into play. We will be crafting a design review team, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, as well as some professional consultants. This may be the first time that we've gone through this, but through a design professional, it is not. So we definitely hope to learn what worked, what didn't work, to find that perfect fit for Red Bank. TSW was our firm that did help us through the comprehensive plan. They did submit a proposal when we released the RFP to onboard this second phase. So I'm really looking forward to continuing that relationship. I think they are uniquely poised to have a deep understanding of what Red Bank citizens want to see. We did partake in 11 public engagement activities last year. So that included workshops, that included public hearings, full, robust opportunities to gauge what the community would like to see. And TSW was there along the way. So I think it really puts us ahead of the curve as we start this journey, which we will kick off at the first of the year. Our review team will probably gather either this month or next month, just to kind of lay the groundwork, a little bit of homework, understanding what we're getting into so that we are fully prepared to partner with TSW to start our process.
Yes.
And this is budgeted.
Yes.
This was budgeted.
I was just about to
Yes.
ask you about that. Excellent. Yes, I'm very excited about this continuity that we're going to be able to have with TSW, having been there, like you said, every step of the way with our comp plan, already knowing our neighbors. I mean, they've been engaging with them for a year and a half. And so I'm just really excited to be able to continue to work with them as we take this next step.
Yes, thank you very much.
Do I have a motion to approve? I'll move. I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do you have any further discussion? Oh, excuse me.
Not that anybody needed to submit, but did anybody else submit? To the
Our first
RFP.
round we actually released it twice. The first round, we needed to tweak the submittals. I think we had a total of, we had no submittals. We had 4 inquiries. So that told us that our RFP needed to be reposted. We weren't either checking all the boxes, we weren't making something very clear. And through that solicitation, I did reach out to those that did review it, and just ask for some basic feedback, and that was really what it was, more clarity, more time frame, more opportunity for meeting our expectations. Yes.
And so with TSW, when you posted it the second time around, how many other proposals?
Just one.
Just TSW.
Just TSW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was meant to be, I guess.
Well, and in all fairness to any and all other applicants that actually did review, that's a very unique industry for the professionals that work in that realm. And the feedback I did receive was it was best suited as that partnership to continue with TSW.
Okay.
So that was some of their rationale for not submitting, which
Gotcha.
professional courtesies is appreciated.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Any other comments or questions?
TSW did go, at our request, above and beyond, really, in terms of public engagement. And having participated in public engagement in neighboring jurisdictions, I have to say I'm very pleased with what TSW managed to accomplish with our comprehensive plan engagement. So I look forward to seeing what they can do with this.
They were very
land
receptive
use.
to alternative plans. We've learned from prior experiences just in the industry that your standard public engagement events just are not as successful as they could be. So TSW was very, very open-minded to opportunities, weekend events, evening events. So again, I look forward to this continued opportunity with them to really kind of round out our whole comprehensive plan, land use, from plan to action. How are we going to get there?
Thank you. Are there any comments by the residents present? Another thumbs up. All right. Most excellent. There are no comments. We'll go ahead and call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And now is the time for citizen comments from Red Bank citizens on items not on the agenda. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer visible on the dais. If time expires, please respect her direction and conclude any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, to city staff, or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. Citizens are now invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
All right. There are no comments. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Nobody wants to leave.
We're just waiting on him.
I'll move.
A motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Where were you, Commissioner Wilkinson?
I'm trying to give you
Like,
guys a chance
we gonna
too.
sit here forever, guys.